Yes, good afternoon. Sava here from Football Heritage TV. Hope that everyone is well. I wanted to record this video today, slightly different. This isn't about a player we might be signing or a result that we've had. I want to talk today about Ange Postecoglou, Big Ange, the owners, and the players in general, the playing style, my hopes and expectations for the season, and what my actual thoughts and opinions are on Tottenham Hotspur. Now, the reason I'm doing this is the last couple of days, having talked with Perchy and seen a lot of the comments that have been coming in, seeing people like the Hotspur hippie coming onto my channel and just lying about things that I've said, completely taking things out of context. Other people then going, oh, yeah, Sava's in the mud. Sava said this. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So I thought, no, okay, you know what? I'm lucky. I've got a YouTube channel. I can put my opinion out there. Me, not arguing or debating with anyone else, me telling everybody my actual thoughts and opinions that I've said a number of times, but people don't seem to hear it. What they want to hear is the negative, but they never hear the positive. I am someone that will talk about the positive and the negative. I don't believe in fairies. I don't believe in delusion. I don't believe in everything's just brilliant because we say it is and everyone should jump on this massive hype that everyone's going to win the league. I don't do that. If people don't like that about me, I can't really do anything about it. But I want to set out my stall straight away and say, look, I created a YouTube channel for my own journey, right? Everyone can create their channel for their own journey. I wanted to create a football channel because I love debating football. I love the football arguments. I loved going toe-to-toe with my mates in a football debate. Loved it on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, whatever it may be. And I've never been someone that just says, oh, yeah, that's good. I'm always someone that, why? Tell me why. All right, you've made this prediction. Give me an example why. All right, you've said this, but why? I don't really do the feelings thing. It's not really for me. Football opinions aren't really about feelings. It's more about fact. It's more about what can you see is going to happen, not what you want to happen. For example, do I want Spurs to win every game? Yes. Do I want Spurs to win the league, the Champions League, quads, trebles? But yes. Do I think it's achievable? No, not where we are now. No, it's not achievable. That doesn't make me negative. That makes me realistic. Now, as I mentioned, the person who came onto my show yesterday, I'm sure you all saw it, that was saying, oh, you think you're realistic. It's just your truth. Sure. But at the moment, I hear these things like what he was saying. I hear it every single year, the same way you all hear it every year. I'm not special. I'm just a football fan like you are. We hear the same thing every year. I heard at the beginning of last season, Conte's now got his players. He had a great window. He's going to win the league. He's a winner. He'll see us through. We've got two players in every position. Then when it starts to go wrong, Conte wasn't backed. We haven't got good enough players. He didn't get who we wanted him. Okay. And we're going to do it again this year. Now, the difference between this year and last year for me is this year, we have got a plan. But the plan for me isn't about 1 year. And this is where I think a lot of people misconstrue my opinions on Ange Postecoglou and Tottenham Hotspur. Because I don't talk about in the very moment. When I'm predicting Tottenham, I don't predict this season we must do this, or it's failure. This, and it's success. For me, I talk about the long term. So let me go back to the beginning, try and explain this. During the summer, obviously we had the managerial search and people were getting frustrated. Is it going to be Slot? Is it going to be Nagelsmann? Is it going to be Brendan Rodgers? Is it going to be Luis Enrique? Is it going to be Thomas Tuchel? And so forth, and so forth, and so forth. And everyone had their own ideas about what is it that Tottenham Hotspur Football Club actually needs. I personally was of the opinion, I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but I was personally of the opinion that Spurs needed a manager that was more of a project manager, a build manager, somebody that would come in for the long term, put a process down, and we say, right, for the next 5 years, hopefully longer, for the next 5 years, this is what we're going to implement. This is the ethos that we're going to create. This is the belief we're going to put into the players. The deadwood's going to go over 3, 4, 5, 6 windows. New players will come in that suit that manager's philosophy, change the director of football, change the head scouts, change the academy. That was where I was. which is what Spurs needed. And Spurs got it. Spurs got all of that. And I was really happy with that. Now, again, certain people will have you believe that I didn't want Postecoglou. But the point I've always made on this, and I don't feel like I should have to explain it, but I'm going to, is was Postecoglou on my radar before he was mentioned for the job? No. But you could say that of hundreds of managers across Europe, right, that weren't on your radar. When he was mentioned, though, I was happy. I was like, yeah, yeah, I like what this guy's done. Yeah, I think this is an ideal candidate to come in for Tottenham Hotspur. And people can go back and have a look at my summer videos. My YouTube videos would tell you me saying, yeah, this is a good fit. I'm not his number one fan. I wasn't the first person to say I wanted him, but I was one of the first YouTubers to make a video and say, do you know what? I like this. I like this guy. I was speaking to other YouTubers that were saying this is typical Levy. This is what Spurs do. He's from Celtic. He's only managed in Scotland and Japan and Australia. He's not good enough for the Premier League. What are we doing? But I quite liked the idea of it. I thought that he was a good man-to-man manager, had the right personality. So I was very happy when he came in. So my first point to all of this is don't let anybody out there that's lying telling you I didn't want him to join. That's not true at all. I really wanted this guy to join. I was more than happy. Still am, by the way, and we'll get to that. But what I said at the time was, it can't just be a managerial change. It's got to be a director of football or technical director, whatever you want to call it. It's got to be new scouts. It's got to be new players that come in. It's got to be Deadwood going out. All of these things simultaneously had to live in the same environment. They all had to happen at the same time. You couldn't just get a manager and go, right, we're going to keep doing what we've done for the last 2 decades and hope that everything works. But because of that, and this is where I think people really misconstrue my opinions on Big Ange. Okay? Do I love Big Ange? I love Big Ange. I think he's a great man-to-man manager. I think he's breathed new air, new life into Tottenham Hotspur. He comes across really well in his press conferences. The players are running through brick walls for him. He's got a really good, entertaining style of play. And there's nothing not to like. Really like him. I don't know. I don't think I need to say that any clearer. There's nothing not to like. What people misconstrue is 2 things for me. One, this whole title talk stuff that we had. And people would say, oh, you're being rude. You call people delusional. Well, normally the people that I'm calling delusional are the ones that call me negative, because anyone that believes we were going to win the league, for me, I believe that is a form of delusion. I do believe that people can think what they want. And some of my closest mates who are Spurs fans believed it. I didn't call them delusional because they had a laugh with it. I think deep down they knew Spurs weren't winning a title. They knew Spurs didn't have the squad. We weren't ready. All of the things that we implemented in the summer are brand new. You don't just go league title. But then we've got the other section of the fan base that doubled down on this. Why can't we win a league title? Well, injuries. Why can't we win a league title? Well, you're going to have suspensions as well as injuries. Why can't we win a league title? Depth of squad. Why can't we win a league title? Because we've still got a lot of Deadwood here that aren't good enough when they come on. Why can't we win a league title? Because we didn't buy centre forwards. We needed goals. Why can't we win a league title? Well, we've only got Van der Ven and Romero as first choice centre halves. After that, you're playing the likes of Royale, Davis and Dyer. So for me, these were the obvious things. Like this for me wasn't rocket science. It wasn't an amazing prediction. These were obvious, right? It was common sense. You don't win titles when you've got Dyer, Davis, Royale, Sessegnon, Skip, Højbjerg, Brian Hill, Brennan Johnson. They're not the players that win you titles. Now, can Sons, Maddisons, Romeros, Van der Vens, Zadogis, Vicarios, quite possibly, if sprinkled with the quality around them. So this was always my point about the whole winning the title versus not winning the title point, that it just seemed very, very, it was emotional rather than logical for me. And I'm a logical person, okay? I'm logical with it for me. Anyone who wants to believe we can win a title, crack on. Crack on. But don't call me negative, because you know inevitably that we're not going to, right? So don't call me negative for it. My stance is this. I truly believe, clip this so people can remember what I've said. I truly believe that Ange Postecoglou, if the circumstances are right, can be brilliant for this club and bring some glory. Now, what that glory looks like and what the time frame on that is up in the air, because that isn't purely dependent on Ange Postecoglou. That, as we know, is dependent on Daniel Levy and ENIC. And it always is, it always has been, and for the period of time that they're the custodians of this club, it always will be. Ange is not a miracle worker. No manager is a miracle worker. You can do so much. If your squad are here, you might be able to elevate them to here, but can you get them to there and win? That's a tough ask. That's a really tough ask. So for me, said the same thing. I tried explaining this on my show yesterday and I was shot down. My opinion of Spurs in the summer was this. This year, Spurs have a free hit. Ange picked us up in a mess. A depleted squad of no depth, of not real quality. No confidence in it. Shoddy football, to say the least, from the Conte era. Finished 8th, no Europe. Ange picked us up in that mess. So for me, I've always said, and I can't keep saying this, I think the trajectory of the club is looking like this. Okay? I think it's looking like this, going in an upward trend. I think the problem is the good start has made people think we're doing that rather than slowly going up, going like that. Now, that's fine, but at some point, reality had to hit, and it has hit. Now, let me go to this. So hopefully by now you realize what I've been trying to say. Okay? Spurs are right at the beginning of a journey. So for me, when people say it's negative when I say we can't win the league or challenge, for me, I think it's negative to put too much pressure on the manager and the players in month 4, 5, whatever we're in. When did he join? 5 months ago? 4 months ago? I think it's negative to put too much pressure on them too soon. For me, we need the January window, some smart buys. The summer, 3 or 4 more smart buys. But whilst these windows are going on, 1 or 2 going out, 1 or 2 going out. So you're letting go players of this standard and bringing players of this standard. So automatically the whole squad is elevated from here to there. That takes time. That doesn't happen over 13 games. Now, am I annoyed that Spurs have lost 3 games in a row? I'm not annoyed we've lost 3 games in a row. I kind of expected there would be. And I think most fans expected there was going to be bumps in the road. We said that there's going to be some great games, some bad games, some good defeats, some terrible defeats. We've said that all along. So what we're seeing happening now is just what most people thought was inevitable. But the good start to the season has kind of made people forget that this was going to happen. And those people that were talking about titles are now doubling down on, oh, but injuries and suspensions. Well, yes, injuries and suspensions are part of football. Every club has them. Look at Newcastle right now. Injuries and suspensions galore. Man City, injuries and suspensions galore. Brentford have got 9 first-team players injured. Right? Chelsea have had up to 12 or 13 at any one point this season. Man United have got loads of players injured, suspended. It happens to every club. And that, for me, was part of my logical thinking of this is why I don't think we're ready to win a league yet. Also, I don't think anyone thought we were going to win a league at the beginning of the season. So at no point in my thought process this year have I gone, you know what, we could win the league. Because things like Romero getting a 3-game suspension happen. Things like Van der Ven, Maddison getting injured happen. Basuma picking up multiple suspensions happens. Papa Sarr getting a knock. Players going to the African Cup of Nations. Bentancur, we knew there was a risk him coming back, playing, getting injured. These things happen. None of us can control it. The club can't control it. No one can control these things. It's nature. It's natural. These things happen. But because of that, I've never thought we're winning a title. Can we in a few years' time? Again, I'll caveat. It's all down to what the owners do. What do the owners do? What do the directors of football do? What do the scouts do and the managers do? What do they all do by looking and going, what do we need to elevate Spurs from here to there? But what we are for the positive, and again, this always gets missed when people are saying, you do this, you're negative, you hate Spurs. It's ridiculous. I think Spurs are on a good journey. There's going to be bumps. We're on a good journey. As long as we keep backing the manager and we keep bringing in players of quality. The likes of Vicario, Van der Ven, Maddison, quality footballers. You've got to keep doing that. It can't be a one-off. It needs to be quality, quality, quality. When you get to that level of quality, that's when you start talking about, we've got some depth now. We can win titles. Not, we've got 3 or 4 injuries. Right, we're out of title race. Equally, people have had a go and said, well, for 10 games, we were in a title race. The problem with that statement, in my mind, only in my mind, I'm not going to go at anyone, just in my mind, is if you are in the top 4 in November or October, and we're saying anyone at that point can win a league title, then you put Newcastle in there, Aston Villa in there. Right? You can't just say everyone's in a title race. For me, a title race is when you get to the other side of January, when you get to the end of the January window and you start to see, right, there's 10, 12 games left. Who's there or thereabouts? Yeah? Normally it's 1 or 2 teams. 3 if it's a real big dogfight, but normally it's 1 or 2. Last year, Arsenal and Man City got to February. It was those 2 neck and neck in a dogfight for a title race. Not after 10 games of a Premier League season. So for me, that's how my brain works. That's how I look at it. Other people can look at it how they want. But I will not have people out there saying that I hate Spurs. I will not have people saying that I go onto channels like Football Heritage TV, like Football Terrace, like Saeed TV, like Rants and Bants. And they say I'm twerking for other fans. I want their approval. When I go onto those channels, the abuse is unbelievable in the chat. So anybody that thinks it's twerking, anybody that thinks I'm going there and getting love, really hasn't watched those shows. Brilliant content creators, brilliant shows. They've created great things. But the fans in the chat, they're going mad at me. It doesn't matter. I could say Spurs are going to get relegated. They'd hate me for being Spurs. I could say Spurs are winning a title. So this notion that I do it for love from other fans is mad. And anybody who truly knows me, the YouTube creators who I consider my friend, not just anyone I work with, the YouTube creators who I consider my friend, who I've met in real life, who I talk to on a daily basis, they know me. They know that this is me. They know this isn't twerking for other fan bases. And the last thing I want to say, and I think this is really, really important, is this goes back to something I said at the beginning of the video. Myself and other creators created football channels on YouTube for debate, for constructive review, for critiquing, for breaking down games, breaking down players, analysing managers, analysing scorelines, tactics, results, transfers. So I will never have anyone like yesterday coming on and telling me that I do this for clickbait. Have you seen some of the YouTubers out there, their clickbait videos and their clickbait headings and their clickbait thumbnails? I like to think I'm always honest. If I wasn't, I think people would love it more and I'd have 30,000 subscribers. But I'm always honest to myself, right? But what I will never do, and I'll finish by saying this, I will never not be critiquing because that's what football debate shows are for. I will never sit there and say, yeah, I love Ange, I can't critique him. That's nonsense. That's not football. No football fans have ever done that. No other football channel in the world does that. Outside of the Spurs community that I've seen, none of them just say everything's great, everything's great. Oh, you can't criticise this sub. You can't criticise that high line. You can't criticise this tactic. We're allowed to say what we want. You can critique. But when you critique people, it doesn't mean you want everyone out. Trust me, you know if I want someone out. When it got to the point with Conte, I wanted him out. I said, Conte out. Dyer, I want out. Royale, I want out. Sessegnon, I want out. Skip, Højbjerg, these players I want out. I openly say it. I've got no problem with Beg Ange. Just because I might critique something he's done in a game, isn't that part of our job, our duty as YouTubers to break things down, to create debate in the panel, in the chat, out there on the internet? This is what we're here for. So I won't be told otherwise. Some of you will love me. Some of you will hate me. That's fine. But I never, ever want my opinions misconstrued out there. Spurs are going in the right direction with a great manager, with a brand new setup behind the scenes, from a director of football to the scouts to the heads of the academy. We've got a new football operations officer. The style of football is good. Doesn't mean I always have to agree with it every single game, but the style of football is good. So far, most of the main transfers we made in the summer have been good. Some questionable, but most good. There's so many positives at Spurs. But I'm a Spurs YouTube football channel. I'm going to critique. I'm going to have constructive chats with people. When me and Stell and Will and Haas and Perchie, for example, on the Spurs Unleashed, notice how without arguing, without hating each other, everyone disagrees but has a good football chat about it. And then you've got other YouTubers coming on saying, you can't critique a manager at all. It's madness. Praise when you praise, critique when you critique. It is okay. Football fans have been doing it for hundreds of years. Everybody, I want to say a massive thank you from the bottom of our hearts from myself and Perchie. This is coming to the end now of our first month together on this channel. We've really enjoyed it. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. We've implemented Spurs Unleashed for you. We've implemented Rivals React so that we can get other fans' reactions from all the weekend's action. We've implemented 10 in 10 that will be coming to you live every day at 2 p.m. We've got transfer videos coming up. And we've got the advent calendar from the 1st of December to the 24th of December. We really hope you enjoy it. All I would say is please, 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 some of the comments on YouTube do get just a little bit too personal. We give up a lot of our time. People think we make loads of money. You don't. It's getting a bit too personal. We give up a lot of our time to put this content out there, not just us. All of the YouTube creators do. So the hate and the venom that is spit in chats, yeah, the hate and the venom that is put into comments, just calm it down a little bit. It's football. Debate football. Love you all. We'll see you tonight at 6 p.m. for Rivals React, followed by 7:45 when we've got the Champions League live score show. Things are happy at Spurs. Things are looking good. It's going to be a rough spell. Man City next. We need to get through that. Then we need to start picking up points again. But no one has said Ange out. I haven't seen anyone say they don't like him. Please don't believe these people that keep telling you those things about me. It's not true. And if you want to know, my email address is in the bio. My YouTube is open. My Instagram is open. People come and ask me a question if you want to know something. Don't listen to people like the Hotspur hippie who's just going to come on and lie and say I've said things that I haven't. Not just him. There are others out there. He's a good guy. I've got no problem with him. Go and follow his channel. Go and follow the Hotspur hippie and get him up more thousands of subscribers. But just don't let people tell you things about me that aren't true. Much love. Take care. And as always, come on, you Spurs.